evening, everybody. How we doing for another live Around the Ropes podcast episode right here on the new ATR network? Obviously, you guys know who I am. I'm John. If you guys want to follow us on any social media accounts, you can go to any of your favorite social media platforms and just type in Around the Ropes podcast. You are bound to find us. Now, you guys might just see me here by myself, but you know I never come alone. Because obviously tonight, joining me is my tag team partner. He is the ring announcer for several promotions, including Invictus, Create a Pro, Wrestle Pro, and mind you also, if you live in the state of Pennsylvania and you're looking for an ordained minister, he can help you with that as well, as he is now an ordained minister from the Universal Life Church of Seattle, Washington. You know him, you love him, Sexy Ryan himself. Ryan, what's going on? I told you.
You called it.
So what's going on, buddy?
Another day, another Tuesday. Whoop-dee-dee. And I can't believe we're almost to the end of fucking June already.
Wait, I thought June started yesterday.
It feels like it. But we have a lot to talk about in wrestling. Before we get into that, I'm stealing John's thunder right now because, well, I can. If you like what you see here, folks, make sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, the new ATR network. It does nothing for you, but it does wonders for us. Hit that little bell icon, ding, for updates on the Around Rose podcast, as well as YouTube exclusives, which will be seen periodically throughout the channel, including the one that, unfortunately, this guy had to do earlier, with the one called Steve Off, talking about Pro Wrestling Magic's closing time. Now, and also, I'm going to use you as the prototype because, well, you have it in front of you. If for those out there who love a thing called coffee, then you can buy yourself a bag of this delicious organic Sumatran blend coffee, courtesy of our friends at Motor Oil Coffee. Let me tell you, it is organic crack. This is the crack you want to have.
And this is the crack that won't break your back.
Exactly.
But guys, before I forget, before we dive into the wrestling world, we actually have a guest joining us tonight.
Oh yes, we do.
He is one half of the team behind Invictus, as they are set to hold their first, well, not their first, but the bigger.
You want me to do it for you, John?
Yes, because I had it in my head the right way, but it's not coming out the right way.
Okay, so rewind. Play. Joining us tonight is one half of the brains behind a little-known promotion called Invictus Pro Wrestling, as they team up with NFW in a massive dual event called Northern Conquest, taking place live this Sunday from the Mecca in Richfield Park, New Jersey. Basically, I call the Mecca the revolving door because every one of their mothers has been involved in there. Is that better, John?
Yes, and we'll get into that, and also we'll touch upon, I'll get Ryan's take on some of the Pro Wrestling Magic matches as well, because in the video that you're going to see me, that's going to drop more than likely within the next 24 hours, that I did with Steve Off, there's a lot of big matches happening. And might I also add, we also have another YouTube exclusive that's going to be dropping, again, within the next 24 hours, and that's actually going to be happening tomorrow night, that I'm going to be sitting down with Garrett Holiday from Immortal Championship Wrestling, a few days ahead of their big event happening on July 8th called Immortals Things 4 up in Cobleskill, New York, as he is set to take on AEW / Ring of Honor superstar, the one, the only Matt Taven.
And that was Garrett Holiday to you, John.
I'm ignoring that. But guys, like I said, definitely, if you have any comments you'd like to make, definitely leave them in the comment section below. We'll definitely be reading them tonight. But so Ryan, how's your day been since, I saw you 2 hours ago?
Well, I would say my day has been very oozy.
Good segue in that, because we're going to dive into some WWE talk right now. And the first thing I want to look at is what happened on SmackDown this past Friday.
Could you be a deer and pull up the graphic?
You mean the thumbnail?
Yeah, that. Ah, yes. As you can see right there, it looks like the Bloodline, aka Roman's Empire, may have crumbled.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You know who called this though? You want your laugh? Cody. Cody called it.
That's true, he did.
If you remember the promo he cut right after Mania, he said Jimmy and Jay are going to leave you, and eventually you're going to become a Roman without a reign.
It's like he booked the show 3 months in advance.
I will say this. I think with this, the way the storyline has been played, and we've spoken about this on the show the last couple of weeks, you can't get any story that's better than this right now.
Absolutely not.
And also add the fact that most storylines that go in WWE, not even just WWE, in wrestling in general, usually go a couple of months, or if in WWE's terms, you get the stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Mm-hmm. This has been going on for almost 3 years. But what's nice about this one is it's not like all of a sudden it hit its peak, crash, hit its peak, crash. It's been constantly intriguing since it started. And the fact that, but now, let me ask you this now. Do you think the Bloodline is officially done, or do you think this is just their way of taking a break for a bit?
So, obviously, yeah, Jimmy and Jay are, out from, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
But you're forgetting about one other person in the Bloodline.
You talking about Solo? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Solo Sikoa.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think with what, first of all, I give Jay tons and tons of credit for what he pulled on Friday, because he got a lot of people with his face to face with his brother.
Well, because what I love with that is they had you feeling at one point that he wasn't going to turn.
Yeah, no, I honestly was not going to think that, because for the longest time, I thought Jay was, as he's always been, the follower.
And the funny thing is, that's what made it so intriguing. When all of a sudden he turned, and I was like, okay, they're really going to pull the trigger on this.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't understand, this is sort of one of my issues I have with the IWC. I have another issue with them, but we'll get into that later on. Do you know there's some members of the IWC who think that WWE is trying to rip off AEW with the way they're going about this match that's happening at Money in the Bank between Roman and Solo and the Usos?
No.
Do you know which match I'm referring to?
Their tag match?
No. Do you know which AEW match I'm referring to?
No.
Go back to Revolution back in...
Oh, yeah, with the Bucks and Omega Page.
There are people in the IWC who are saying that, WWE is ripping off AEW because AEW did it first. And what I'm getting sick and tired of is this constant battle of, this company can do this, but this company, I look at it this way. Wrestling had its moment back in the 90s when you had not one, not two, but you had 3 companies back then. You had WWE, you had ECW, and you had WCW. Yes, granted, you have more wrestling companies now, where you got WWE, you got AEW, you got Ring of Honor, you got New Japan, you got Impact Wrestling, and then you got, your 9,000 indie promotions out there. But my point is this. Wrestling fans have to stop this whole taking sides. Oh, I only watch this guys because these guys. No, to me, it's wrestling. Okay,
Can we all just love it?
Exactly. To me, and I had a conversation about this, and this is more on the independent level, but I think this kind of also can be true when it comes to WWE and AEW. I don't give a flying fuck what happens behind the scenes. As a fan, I don't care. As long as the product that's being put in that ring is good, that's all I care about. And that's all that wrestling fans should care about. Yes, granted, are there certain things I look into? Yes, obviously I look into the ratings because that's more of just curiosity than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it, though. When you got these fans who are sitting there going, "Oh, well, I won't watch WWE because da 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 da." Again, it doesn't affect you. No, it doesn't. So to me, as long as you're a fan of the sport, that's all that matters. And it pisses me off when I see wrestling fans who are sitting there saying, "Well, I'm not going to watch WWE because they're not booking this guy properly, and I'm not going to watch AEW because Tony Khan's doing this wrong." And I'm like, "Come on!" I'm like, again, guys, how does it affect you? You're still going to pay your ticket. So to me, this I think what I'm trying to get at is, I've said this before and I'll say this again: social media and the internet has killed professional wrestling. Because everybody feels that, oh, I can be a journalist, I can be a reporter. Oh, let me go to my Twitter machine and go tweet out something, and hopefully it gets picked up by Sean Rossap and those guys. Hate to break it.
99% of the time, it doesn't work like that.
I hate to break the news to you guys. You're not reporters. You're not journalists. Hell, Ryan and I come on the show every week for almost the last 2 years. Well, actually, Ryan's been a year, but for me, 2 years doing the show, almost 2 years. I've never said that I'm ever a journalist. I've never said I'm an expert in this field. Trust me, I'm far from that. All we are just fans who happen to have a platform where we can voice our opinion. And that's all it comes down to.
And as someone who's in the wrestling industry per se, I'm looking at it from, a different perspective.
But Ryan, somebody coming from your perspective, I understand you're in the industry.
Of course.
So you're behind the scenes. But for somebody like me and other people who we know, to me it's like, I don't care that this company doesn't like this company, or this wrestler doesn't like that wrestler. It doesn't affect me at all.
Who gives a shit?
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Is that when you see these fans who are sitting there going, "Oh, I can't believe WWE is trying to rip off AEW because AEW already did the Young Bucks versus Omega and Page." Okay, and how many times have we seen in pro wrestling where moves get ripped off? Okay, another thing I hate to break it to you guys. You know Randy Orton? I know he hasn't been wrestling well, but does that name sound familiar? Okay, yeah. Yes, John. Okay, thank you.
Oh, you were actually asking a question. I thought you were being rhetorical.
His move, the RKO. You think he came up with that on his own?
According to the IWC, he created it.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you guys.
He didn't.
Diamond Dallas Page had the similar move. There's been hundreds. Guys, there's very few times when it comes to pro wrestling where anything is original. It's very rare that ever happens. But Ryan, what about you? What are your thoughts on what I was just saying and all that stuff?
I agree 100%. And actually, I'm going to talk about something non-wrestling related, which is kind of relatable.
Okay.
Because obviously, what's wrestling called in some other people's eyes?
Sports entertainment.
Well, besides that,
soap opera.
A male soap opera.
Yeah.
So, let's say, for example, Young and the Restless, been on for 50 plus years, at least, and they do the storyline of one of the leading male characters hooked up with a Jersey whore, or whatever you want to call him, and she gets knocked up by him. You're not going to turn around to something like General Hospital or Bold and the Beautiful and tell them, "Oh, you can't use that storyline anymore because that's been used in Young and the Restless." It's the same looking concept. It's the same, because you know what it is? It's relatable.
And
the weird transition from like wrestling and soap opera, but think about it from a story perspective.
I completely
like what you said with the Young Bucks, Omega, and Adam Page. Then the whole shit with the Usos. Oh, we can't do that. Well, why? Why not? It doesn't happen in just one place. It happens everywhere else. It's relatable.
Yeah, I completely agree. And to me, when you get wrestling fans who are sitting there who are saying, or you get some wrestling fans who are sitting there and saying, "Oh, I'm tired of the Bloodline storyline." I'm sorry. I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to say you're wrong. But I'm sorry, if you're not a fan of what's been going on right now between Roman, Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman, the Usos, Sami Zayn, that I don't know what gets you going.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, but apparently John lost his feed. But anyway, folks, on Friday night when John, comes back, so apparently on Friday night, the Usos and the Bloodline, the Usos and the Bloodline were doing a little in-ring segment where apparently they, sorry, folks, I don't know what happened here. We apologize for the I guess the technical difficulties we have going on right now. As I'm trying to figure out, but apparently on Friday night, Roman Reigns, called out Jey Uso, where pretty much saying, do you? Oh, okay. I guess it's just on to me now. Fantastic. Wow, I was not expecting to go solo. I guess it's just on to me now. Fantastic. Sorry, I want to make sure this is still working. So. So they went into the middle of the ring, saying, are you in or are you out of the Bloodline? All of a sudden, Jay starts getting a little tease, like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? All of a sudden, here comes Jimmy coming out, and apparently Roman was trying to pull the line of you were next to the line, but your brother didn't want that to happen. So then you see Jay get a little frustrated going on with Jimmy, his own brother, saying, it's all, I'm trying to catch up to you, blah, 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 whatnot. When you were gone, I took in, and ever since I took in, I main evented SmackDown, I main evented pay-per-views, I main evented WrestleMania because I was there. So the last lines were, so Jimmy, you out. And you see Roman and Paul laughing in the background while Jay stares on Jimmy and goes, and I'm out too. He turns around, thanks Roman Reigns, and the entire crowd went freaking ballistic. I was like, huh? Storytelling as far as you pretty much see Paul Heyman collapse and roll out of the ring and then get to the side of the ring going, no, why? So that happened, and I still don't know what happened with John, apparently. That's not part of the story. That's not part of that story. But because of that, the next day, I think it was this past Saturday, they announced that at Money in the Bank on July 1st, it's going to be pretty much a bloodline collision, as they call it, as Solo Sikoa and the undisputed Universal Space Mountain Intergalactic World Champion, I don't know why I'm calling it so many names, Roman Reigns, takes on Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. And as the caption of it says, are the Usos the GOATs of tag team wrestling? Hey, Jericho's back!
What happened was quickly, for some reason, now that I have the microphone back and I had the thing plugged in, I had the headphones plugged in, I guess it overheated a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But,
basically, I just gave, our viewers the rundown of what happened this past Friday on SmackDown.
Okay, yeah, I did catch a few minutes of it on watching it through Facebook as everything was coming back up again.
I thought something was going on my end. I'm like, wait, what the hell happened? But okay. But basically, I just gave them a quick synopsis of everything, including the announcement that was made on Saturday with the bloodline,
implosion.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, with the Intergalactic Space Mountain Willy Wonka Universal Undisputed Champion as in Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's one way you can put it. But no, there's a few other stuff I want to get to with WWE before we transition over to the independent scene. Like I said, folks, Alex Acetta, co-owner of Invictus Pro Wrestling, will be joining us at 8:30 p.m. to preview Sunday's show as Invictus joins forces with NFW for what should be a very stacked card, which will include what I think will be a bloodbath between Face and PJ Savage.
Yeah.
But the other stuff I want to get to with WWE, actually, one of them happened last night on Monday Night Raw. No, actually, before we get to that, I want to go back to the Usos for a hot second here.
Ugh.
In the thumbnail, I said, "Are the Usos considered the goats of tag team wrestling?"
Well, I mean, I was getting to that, but then you came back, unfortunately.
And the reason I'm asking that question is this. Yes, do they have as many title reigns as the Dudleys? Do they have as many title reigns as the Road Warriors? No, they don't. But you mentioned the Road Warriors. You mentioned the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, the Hardys. Go back to Arn and Tully with the Brainbusters. What's the one thing none of the tag teams had that the Usos have?
I know the answer.
Bathrooms down the hall to the right.
I know the answer.
What's up?
They never main evented a pay-per-view.
Yes, but there's there's also a bigger part to it.
What now?
None of them were featured in a main event storyline for as long as the Usos have been.
True.
You look at and I just went through some of the teams. I mean, you got other teams you can look at. You can look at teams like New Day, teams like the Nation of Domination, DX, Hunter and Sean. Just go down the list of anybody you have. Yes, granted, teams like like the Dudleys, I know, were featured briefly in main event spots back in the 90s, but those lasted at what, best 3 months,
if that.
No team has ever been there and had been doing it for almost as long as they have. Sorry, just wanted to. But yeah, that was just a playback. Sorry, guys. But no, anybody who's watching, by the way, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I don't know why I keep hearing us twice now. I have fun hearing us. I love hearing us once, not twice.
I barely can hear us once.
But my point is this, though. And I would love for somebody who's watching us right now, or later on, if you're not watching us live, let me know why you don't think the Usos are the greatest tag team. And again, I'm not saying that based off of reigns, okay? Because if that's the case, then obviously, yes, you got teams like the Dudleys, the Road Warriors. Any of them would be a top. But none of them have been featured like the Usos have right now.
And also a lot of them, haven't had, trilogy of matches to the quality that they provided. Case in point, their trilogy that they had with New Day.
Yeah.
In 2017.
Yes. Yeah, wasn't that...
Which then ended up in the first ever tag team Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. But you look at any of those tag teams, and to me, none of them. And like I said, you can give me any tag team wrestler, any tag team wrestling team, and none of them have done it.
No, absolutely not.
But not only that, like I said, they were featured, but then also they've been featured as a big part. How many times have we seen when it comes to tag team wrestling that all of a sudden, you get the guys who are like, they get used periodically here and there.
Depends.
Where you look at a team like the Usos, since both Jay and Jimmy have been a part of the storyline, they have been a huge part of the storyline.
They have. And
I'll say this much now. Because they don't have the hats on anymore, I can actually figure out who's who.
Well, how about we transition over into what happened last night? And unless you want to continue on with the Jimmy and Jay Power Hour here on the ATR Network, new ATR Network.
No, because I do want to get. There is one thing I do want to get to with that happened on Monday. Actually, there's two things I want to get to with Monday Night Raw.
There's a few things I want to get into actually.
Well, I know the first thing I want to get to is that YouTuber who makes videos for 14-year-old girls came back.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. I love that segment.
No. I mean, like, why is he back? Like, what? And
also, I can answer that one.
Then all of a sudden he gets inserted into the Money in the Bank ladder. I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here, dude.
I can tell you why he came back.
Let me take a guess. Because Triple H's daughters apparently.
No.
I'm talking.
Listen.
I'm talking.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Because apparently Triple H and Stephanie's daughters decided to run Monday Night Raw just for that one segment alone. Because apparently they are major fangirls of Logan Paul. Because apparently they love Prime Energy drinks also. So they decided, oh, Daddy, can we put him in the Money in the Bank ladder match, please?
You're 100% wrong.
You sure about that?
You're 100% wrong. The reason why Logan Paul is back, because
undermining number 57. Okay.
My point is this.
Why?
Because, okay, how many times have we said it on, how many times has these following words come out of this mouth? WWE cares more about the mainstream attention than they do about hardcore fans of wrestling. How many times have I said that line?
Numerous times, but then at the same time, you bitch and complain, say, why is it always so predictable?
Honestly, and I said this last night on Wrestling with Savage. Brother, go check out Wrestling with Savage. He's a great guy.
Great channel.
I will say this right now. Nothing would shock me if when we do our show, probably in the first week of July, and we're saying Logan Paul Money in the Bank winner. Nothing would shock me.
Which reminds me, off camera, I gotta talk to you about the 4th of July week.
It comes after the 3rd.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
You might have to. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. But I could see Logan Paul win the Money in the Bank ladder match. It would not shock me in the least bit. And I say that also for this reason. Like I said before, WWE cares more about the mainstream attention than they do about the hardcore fan base. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I want Logan Paul to win? Absolutely not.
I think 99% of the entire fucking population doesn't.
But, again, we're talking WWE here.
And the fact that if Logan Paul wins in the UK, oh God, those fans could be so pissed.
Oh yeah, and that's why I'm saying, do I think he would, cash in and win a championship? No, absolutely not. Because I consider him a part-timer right now.
I agree.
But would it shock me? Not in the least bit. Not in the least bit at all.
Then if that's the case, then that kind of just takes it away from the other competitors in the Money in the Bank ladder match, who actually had to quote unquote earn their way.
Yes, but again,
it basically shows. It basically shows to, especially to this generation, in order to get things in life that you want, all you have to do is make a crappy YouTube channel.
So where's our opportunity?
We're not crappy. We actually have a thing called quality.
But here's my point, though. I think, and we'll get more into our predictions next week's show. But right now, to me, I think there's one of two guys who are walking out of that matchup as your winner.
I think who the second person is, but say your first person first.
To me, there's two guys, and I'm gonna get chastised for this, and I'm fully expecting it. To me, the two people who are probably gonna win it, knowing how WWE operates.
Get on with it.
Logan Paul or LA Knight. LA Knight.
No, I was gonna do it, damn it.
Okay.
LA Knight, yeah.
Those are the two guys who I think are going to be walking out as your Money to Make winner.
At this point, if Logan Paul win, as long as Logan Paul doesn't win, I'll be happy.
I'd be happy as well, but I also want to be the voice of reason when wrestling fans will start bitching a blue streak come that Monday when Logan Paul is your Money in the Bank winner.
I feel like they're bringing him back and they're going to tease something at Money in the Bank for SummerSlam.
Oh, I've heard rumbles of who it's going to be.
Bad Bunny.
Yep. Which honestly, on paper,
sounds pretty badass. I'm not going to lie.
Oh,
but speaking of screwing someone over at Money in the Bank, I'm making a prediction right now based off what happened on Friday night.
Okay.
For the women's side.
Okay.
So apparently this coming Friday, it looks like it's gonna be Bayley versus Shotzi for Bayley's spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay.
Why do I have a feeling that Shotzi's gonna win, take Bayley's spot? With Io Sky in the match as well, Bayley screws over Io.
Oh, that's been teased for a while now.
And Damage Control is done.
So they'll be done control?
No, more like Control Alt Delete.
But my thing is this though. I think looking ahead towards Money in the Bank, right now, I think I'm more intrigued with the men's side than I am the women's.
I am too.
Because I think you look at the women's side, I'm not taking anything away from the women. I think the women who are in the match are all very talented stars. But we all know how it's going to play out, especially the fact you got Trish, you got Zoe Stark, and you got Becky. So you know those three are going to be interacting 90% of the match. As of now, you got Bayley in there. So it's going to be. There's also, Adios, guys. So you gotta see how that's going to play out.
And Zelina Vega, the wild card.
Yeah. And then you look at the men's side. Yes, one thing I like with the men's is that none of them have ever held a title beforehand. Which I like the fact that they're using it to build up super.
Hold on. Some of them have held a title.
World heavyweight titles.
You did not say that, but okay.
World heavyweight titles is what I meant. But you look at, how it all plays out, and granted, I think any of them could win it. Between Damian, Santos Escobar, any of them could. But let's call a spade here. If it's not LA Knight, you're going to see London burn down. They're in London, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see London come burning down to the ground.
Oh, my God.
And
I am waiting for the pop from the crowd for LA Knight's entrance. I cannot wait to hear that.
I think it's going to be something. It's going to be something you're not going to want to miss. But here's the thing, though. We're talking about LA Knight. Do you think LA Knight right now is? I obviously know they're trying to push him as a bad guy. But do you think it's going over with him as a bad guy right now?
No.
In what way?
If anything, I kind of see him as a Stone Cold face.
I see him more as a tweener.
That's what I say. Kind of like Stone Cold because Stone Cold is the badass that everyone loved, and he always talked shit on the mic. Same thing with The Rock too.
Yes. Oh, speaking about that, did you hear? Was it Zelina Vega who said it on Twitter? When she turned around and she said she made some sort of comment about how LA Knight should stop trying to mimic The Rock in Austin.
Yeah, Zelina Vega. Isn't that the same person who dressed up as cosplay trying to get herself over?
This is also the same person who tried to get unionized in WWE, and look how far that got her.
Yeah, she got fired and then came back.
Exactly. And guys,
although I am kind of for that, to be honest.
Guys, just letting you guys know, in about 10 minutes or so, Alex Acetta will be joining us. One half of the team behind Invictus, which happens to be one of the companies that he's the ring announcer for. That guy.
But getting back to Monday Night Raw, there was supposed to be an open challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yes. That kind of got pulled when Finn Balor attacked it from behind. Which, by the way, I cannot wait for their match next week.
I completely agree, and I'll tell you right now, I want Finn Balor to win.
Please.
Because, and I'm not talking about what happened on Monday, because I thought Monday, the segment between him and Seth, I thought it was perfect. It was different. You didn't get the usual 20-minute promo to open up Raw. But with what Finn is doing right now, and if you want to make Judgment Day a formidable team, obviously you got Rhea Ripley right now, who I've said this countless amount of times, and I'll say this again. What WWE is doing with Rhea Ripley right now is fantastic. Especially, I don't know if you remember the from the main event last night, her facial reactions to some of the moves.
Oh, yes.
And you look at her facial reactions. You know when she gets into the ring, you know as soon as her theme music hits, you know somebody's ass is about to get chewed out.
Oh, yes.
And I think her and Dom Dom, I'm not gonna be, going on a limb that much with what I'm about to compare it to. Rhea and Dom Dom is the modern day China Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I can say that. But getting back to what I was saying, after that segment, all of a sudden you see The Miz enter the ring, get on the mic and said that, he was going to answer the open challenge, which ironically last night they were in Cleveland, Ohio, his old hometown.
Yes.
So apparently he called out open challenge to anyone in the locker room to come out and face him right now because he's in a pissed off mood, sitting there waiting. And who comes out for the first time in a little over 9 months? Tommaso Ciampa.
With his old entrance, by the way.
Yes.
And
holy shit! I was not expecting that, to be honest.
And I'll say this: he looks incredible.
He does.
He really looks incredible, and the fact that now you got him thrown into the mix now, I'll tell you right now, sign me up for him versus Gunther.
Well, that's one of the things I'm hearing, but also I'm hearing another person that might be entering that mix.
Who?
With a little reunion.
Oh, Gargano. Is that who you're talking about?
And what was their team name?
DIY.
Now, can you imagine DIY versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens?
That would probably be the most PWG style match in WWE history.
Which, speaking of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, kudos to Pretty Deadly for actually getting a title shot. But then again, look at where they're doing it.
And I'll also say this much. What they're doing right now with Kevin having the anger issues.
Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious. I love it.
You know where it's leading towards, though, right? It's going to lead to once they drop the belts, because you know they're going to drop the belts soon.
Oh, yeah.
My guess is either the Pretty Deadly or go to the team that you just mentioned, DIY. I think those are the two teams that are going to, one of those two teams are going to dethrone both of them. I think Kevin turns on Sammy.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Because I look this way. Kevin Owens to me is one of those guys. Yes, he can do both. He can be the good guy and the bad guy. But when he's a heel, you want to hate him with a passion. You want to hate him big time. And I think honestly at this point, yeah, it's great that they have the tag titles. It's great they were able to finish the story. But what have they actually done with them that's been of any significance in this run? They're not doing anything. But to me, if you could put the title on... Actually, no, strike that. Remember I said that I thought there was two teams who can take the titles off of them? I forgot a third team.
Oh.
Imperium.
Yeah.
And No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know the comment is, oh, they're getting booked as losers. Yeah, but look at how they're booking Kaiser and the bald-headed guy.
Giovanni.
It was supposed to be how Kevin Owens referred to him. But with that, you put the tag titles on them. And by the way, also, they gotta give those. I'm so sick and tired of seeing the double belt thing with the tag titles. I'm sorry. To me,
actually, I'll be right back, folks. I gotta take care of something quickly. I will be right back. So, John, you're going solo right now.
Okay, not a problem. Yeah, but like I said though, you look at what Imperium's doing right now, and you see what they have done, and to me, it's some of the best work I think we've ever seen in WWE when it comes to tag team wrestling. Because you got somebody like Kaiser who is great on the microphone, and you need that with a team. Because I think you got somebody like Kaiser, and you got somebody like Gunther behind him. It makes them, but also you remember, as we saw last night, after they attacked Riddle after his after Kaiser and him had the match, all of a sudden you look and they're getting the heat, which is one thing that a lot of teams I've noticed, especially tag teams in WWE, don't know how to do for whatever reason, is they don't know how to get the heat. And guys, like I said before, in about 3 minutes or so, Alex Acetta, one half of the power team behind Invictus, will be joining us in a couple minutes. But Ryan, while you stepped aside for a second, I was just talking about Imperium and how you got somebody like Kaiser who can be both good on the mic and in the ring. Giovanni Da Vinci is good in the ring. Gunther, obviously, we know what Gunther's been doing right now. He's been tearing it up lately. But you look at Imperium, and I said this actually last night on Wrestling with Savage. I think if we can somehow you take the tag titles off of Owens and Zayn, let them have a single run. Because you also have to remember, we really haven't had a significant feud between Owens and Zayn under the regime of Triple H.
I mean, they kind of tried pulling that off in 2014, I think, 2015.
Yeah, but it's nothing like I think it would be now.
No, absolutely not.
It's not what it would be now. Oh, excuse me. God damn. But guys, like I said before, we're just waiting right now for Alex to join us. Guys, if you have any comments you'd like to add, definitely leave them in the chat below, and we will get to them as soon as they come up. Our esteemed producer will pull them up for us. And like I said, folks, like Ryan said, when we open the show, if you'd like to follow us, you definitely can. We're on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you go to our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button. It costs you guys nothing. It does wonders for us. While you're also there, hit the little bell. You'll be notified as soon as any future videos go up. Like I said, folks, we have an interview coming up that will be dropping tomorrow with Pro Wrestling Magic promoter and owner Steve Off ahead of their show Closing Time, happening this Saturday at Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, and in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, 106 Bergen Avenue, at the lovely building called the Mecca for Closing Time, which will feature certain superstars in Danny Moff, Alex Ryman, Vicious Vicky, Zeta Steele. The Rep will be there. Steve Off will be there. So on and so forth. And you guys know damn well that Magic will always put on great shows. In addition to that, we have an interview being dropped by Friday with Garrett Holiday up in Immortal Championship Wrestling, as they are set to do their next event called Immortal Things 4, happening July 8th in Cobleskill, New York. To buy tickets for that, go to Immortal Championship on any social media. Mike and company have put on directions there as far as how you can buy tickets. I know I actually bought my ticket a couple days ago, and I can tell you right now, front row seats are sold out. And the nice part also with the Immortal tickets, it's very reasonable price. So you definitely want to check that out. And honestly, folks, we say this every time we talk about indie wrestling. Definitely support indie wrestling. You never know who you're going to see from there, who's going to be in WWE or AEW or Ring of Honor or New Japan within the next year.
Absolutely. And also, one other thing I want to put over, since you're talking about indie wrestling now.
Mm-hmm.
This Thursday, WrestlePro returns with another rendition of Shotgun Thursday Night from Union, New Jersey. They got a stellar card in store. Doors open at 6. Bell time is at 7. So definitely highly recommend checking them out. Excuse me. And also, this isn't like indie wrestling news per se, but it's, kind of a big deal that happened this past week.
Mm-hmm.
kind of under AEW terms, but really AEW and AAA, where a certain superstar from AAA immediately left the company.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
It was, and I found out the story of what that was.
Okay.
So for those who didn't know,
Finish with what you're saying, and then I have a question. I have a question for you.
What?
Are you ready to jump on it?
He's here, isn't he?
He is here.
Oh God.
Under a different name, mind you. And you'll see that name in a second because I'm popping right now for his name. So, Ryan, since you are the esteemed ring announcer, would you be so kind to introduce,
Why, certainly. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, and John, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce at this time one half of the brains. Oh my fucking God. The brains behind Invictus Pro Wrestling. As you can see on here, his name is Alejandro El Queso Grande.
Wow, you truly are too. That's fantastic. It is very authentic. I love that.
What's going on, Alex?
Not much. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, included my full title, my full,
This is the greatest fucking thing ever.
EVP chairman. Those titles were getting pretty played out. So this is what it says on my business card. Yeah.
Done. Is that your name for commentary too?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Everything I will now be addressed accordingly.
So, long time no see since the Fever Dream. I mean, the show on Friday.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's I'll plead the fifth on that since we're in a public forum. It was interesting. Let's just leave it there.
Yes, that's an understatement on that one. But Ryan, would you like to start?
No. You're the host. I'm just the team. Go ahead.
Oh, you're funny. Alex, let's get right into it because obviously Sunday is the big day. You guys at NFW, Northern Conquest, sorry. Again, Ryan, that's why you should have gone first. Let's get to the first match. The match that I'm looking forward to, as I was told, was going to be a bloodbath. PJ Savage and Face.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on this match?
So this has obviously been a long time coming. PJ Savage and Face, of course, were two members of Takeover, which has been arguably the most dominant faction to come out of the Northeast, the greater New York area, in a very long time, I would think. This is their first time ever facing off in a singles match, obviously outside of, scrimmage matches at Gleason's gym under Johnny Rods. This is their first time actually squaring off, in front of a live crowd. Obviously, they know each other very well. And I purposely, sorry about that, I got stuff coming in there. I purposely waited to book this match until we were back in Jersey, because obviously we've been running in New York a lot. And for those people who know, the New York State Athletic Commission does not allow blood or any kind of bleeding or gigging or anything of that sort. So I held off on booking this match until we were back in Jersey, and I knew that we could give it the color that it deserves in more ways than one.
Well, my question for you is this. Anybody in the front row, are they going to be getting a poncho for that match?
That's something we could look into for sure.
Or you can always have the ring announcer turn around and go, okay, anybody in the front row? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ryan, you're going to have to give him a heads up.
I know exactly what I'm going to say. Speaking of which.
Yeah,
So, it's more of a two-parter question. One involving this match and one involving something else. Number one, me personally, I'm calling a straight shoot on the air right now to you, boss man. I feel like it's appropriate because obviously we all know about Face's introduction.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the appropriate time to say just a one-time only deal?
You know, let's feel it out. Let's
Okay.
feel it out. The match
Okay.
won't be
Let's
till
figure it
later on in the
out.
card. You know, let's take a look at how the crowd looks. You know, let's see the ratio of like kids to adults out in the audience, and let's
Yeah, I could
That's
see.
fair enough.
Yeah, if you see a lot of kids there, then Ryan, I would suggest abort that idea.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'm a better sense of judgment.
that's why we won't open with that
Play it by
match.
ear. But in reality, what made you want? What made you and your partner Nick? I'm calling straight up in the air, Nick, to do a joint show with Cody at NFW. Like, what made you want to? What made you want to say? You know what? Because I remember last year you teamed up with Tessa Strength and did 2 phenomenal events with them. So what made you want to expand? Did you want to expand further into other promotions? And was NFW like your first choice?
Yeah, I mean the short answer is I'm a fan of NFW. I'm a fan of their product, and I'm a fan most of all of the talent that they bring in, and the matches they book. So that was probably the biggest factor. Obviously, Cody and I got pretty close, just by virtue of us both running the Mecca. Um, we haven't been there, and geez, it'll have been 6 months by the time next Sunday rolls around, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So we figured if we were going to go back, which we had always wanted to, but we wanted to kind of do it the right way, we might as well do it with another promotion that frequents that building and has that fan base, that local fan base. And the joint shows are interesting because it gives an opportunity to introduce our loyal fans to maybe some talents that they haven't seen before, haven't heard of before, and vice versa for NFW's fans. So crossover shows they can be stressful, obviously, because there's a lot of additional communication that has to go into it, and a lot of compromises that have to be made. Obviously, just by virtue of that each of us only have 4 matches on the card. Not everybody in our regular roster is going to be booked on the show, but once those hurdles are overcome, I think everyone likes a good crossover event, whether it's in wrestling or Marvel movies or you name it.
another one of the matches that's going to be happening on at the show. I actually sort of saw him defend the title on Sunday at Bray, and that's Jay Bougie. Which, by the way, I will definitely say this much right now: in all the matches I've seen, the match he had on Sunday when he took on Facade for the social media championship was his best match I've ever seen him have.
He'll be thrilled to hear you say that because I know he's really been looking forward to this match with Facade. Yeah, Bougie, obviously, since he won the social media title, I'm not going to say won, since he stole the social media title in April under dubious circumstances, winning the Climb for Clout briefcase and then cashing it in later that same night on a prone PJ Savage.
After he had a vicious battle with then champion Big Trouble Ben Bishop.
Yes,
saying.
so PJ, after going 20 minutes against Big Trouble Ben Bishop, there was no way that he was going to be able to put up any kind of fight against Jay Bougie. But Bougie has made it very clear he's looking to level up as a performer. He is ushering in what he has come to call the Summer of Bougie, harkening back to the Summer of Punk, obviously, back in ROH. I think he's looking to branch out and show the world what he can do, and he wants to have matches that reflect that. Facade was certainly someone who was high up on his list. Facade obviously brought the best out of him as a performer. The match next Sunday is going to be a very different kind of match just because his opponent in that match, Billy Dixon, is very different. Facade is more of a high flyer. Billy Dixon's a lot more of a brawler.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a very different type of match. I don't think it's going to be any less exciting. But it's definitely the discourse on Twitter and social media surrounding this match has been interesting, just because looking at those two matches, the Facade match that took place this past Sunday, and then the Billy Dixon match, which is taking place on this coming Sunday, it's pretty clear that Bougie held one of those matches in much higher regard than the other, which is he felt that Facade was a more worthy challenger to his title than Billy Dixon, and he's made that very clear. Now, I don't know if that's some sort of vendetta that he has against Billy Dixon, or simply because it's us booking that match, and he has made it very clear how he feels about Invictus. But I think that adds this layer of intrigue to the match on Sunday, which I think the only way to see how it's going to play out is going to be there in person or tune in on IWTV.
Ryan, go ahead.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Alejandro. Now, one other match I do want to talk about is something that actually, I would say, built up since In Bloom 3, and that is Montekia and Nikolai White. Where in this case, you had to call in special reinforcements for this one. And making his one-time return to reffing? And Mr. Alphonse Stevens. How? That's all I'm going to say. How did this come to fruition?
Well, I'll make one small correction there, which is that this has been brewing since before In Bloom. This goes back to the Get Down, because if you recall, Nikolai White and Montekia were the final two in that Friends Who Fight Rumble match at the Get Down.
I was distracted by Nikolai White almost breaking one of the machines.
Yes. And of course, his victory lap after that match was quite chaotic. But yes, Nikolai White was Nikolai White and Montekia were the final two entrants left in that Rumble match back in March. Nikolai was showing a bit of disrespect towards Montekia in the home stretch of that match. Sprayed some water in his face, which has kind of become his Tajiri mist, almost, if you will. And then that bled over into In Bloom 3 back in April. Obviously, as the winner of that Rumble match, he earned the right to challenge Cashflow Ken Broadway, the Grand Championship, the Invictus Grand Championship at In Bloom 3. And Nikolai came very close, dangerously close, to dethroning Ken Broadway as champion. But he was distracted, or rather allowed himself to be distracted by the presence of Montekia at ringside. And as well as several fans who were wearing Montekia masks, I think it got in his head a little bit and allowed him to be distracted. Also, there was a point in that match where he attempted the water mist at Broadway, but ended up hitting Nick Shin instead. Which led to Nikolai's sort of ongoing beef with referees at Invictus. If you recall, back in December, the last time we were at the Mecca, there was a bit of an incident during his match with Gabriel Sky. So to sort of kill two birds with one stone, as it were, we have booked Nikolai versus Montekia one-on-one, and at Nikolai's insistence, Alphonse Stevens, our esteemed commentator at Invictus, has agreed to come out of retirement for one night only, but we'll put a little asterisk on that because I think he'll see how he feels after this. But I know that refereeing, again, is something that he's talked about a lot. So if depending on how he feels and how his health situation is looking, I'm going to say that maybe this won't be just a one-time thing. This won't be a Terry Funk retirement. But we shall see. Regardless, either way, it's going to be a great match. Just super fast-paced, high-flying action. I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, let me ask your opinion about Mr. Alphonse Stevens' officiating. Do you think he'll be fair?
I think so. Alphonse is always. I mean, you can tell if you ever listen to Invictus's commentary. Alphonse always calls it right down the middle. If anything, it
How
peaks
can you not hear comments? How can you not hear their commentary? You can hear one half of them over the GW bridge.
which is not the half I was talking about. But
know,
Alphonse
but
always calls it. Alphonse always calls it down the middle. I think on commentary, and I've even though we didn't overlap, Invictus hadn't been created when he was still reffing. I've watched tape of his matches, and he has a track record of impartiality. So I feel confident about it.
Yeah, I think seeing him coming out of retirement for this match is going to be something that people definitely going to have to check out for. And guys, again, if you're in the area, definitely stop by. It's going to be a fun day. It's an early show. Well, not early show, but when most wrestling shows start at 7:00, you consider 3:00 to be an early show.
Yeah, well, Sundays we always try to keep it early because we know people have work on Monday morning, so we don't want to keep anyone out too late. But
Guy, no, you definitely want to get. Yep, you definitely want to get your tickets. This is a show you're not going to want to miss. It's 106 Bergen Avenue, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Alex, where can if people want to buy tickets and they want to buy them online? Where can they buy them?
So you can go to Eventbrite. The ticket link is on all of our social media pages. Probably the most direct way to go to it is on our Twitter bio. We're at Invictus Pro WRE1. But you could also find it on any of the posts on our social media pages. And don't forget to support our friends at NFW too, because they have one hell of a card on their side as well. We got MLW newly crowned MLW World Middleweight Champion Akira will be in action as well, taking on Ellis Taylor in a no DQ grudge match. It should be another bloodbath. We're gonna have two bloodbaths, as if one wasn't enough.
And also a competitor that you've actually brought in before, and the Silver Sniper TJ Crawford taking on another competitor who just recently made his Invictus debut in the notorious BRG Brett Ryan Gosling for the NFW Championship.
Yes, the newly crowned NFW champion BRG. So that's going to be very good too. Two guys who have been really dominating the New England scene as of late will be squaring off in front of the Jersey fans, which will be a rare treat.
Especially with the way they go. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, that poncho idea may come in handy for most of the show then.
I'm going to say yes, and definitely keep an eye on our social media pages because we do have a few little last-minute additions that we'll be announcing soon as well to the card. Some little pre-show matches, so make sure you get there nice and early. Doors at 2. Around 2:30, we'll be kicking off with some Let Them Fight YouTube tapings. So that's going to be real fun as well.
A couple more quick things I want to talk about. One about the show. The Invictus Women's Championship. The current champion herself, La Chica Clara Carreras, will be taking on the debuting Kelsey Reagan.
Yes, sir. So Clara has been really an underdog since she captured that title. Before she captured the title, physically, if you've met her, she is quite small in stature, but she has that real fighting spirit. She has dispatched many opponents who definitely have a size advantage on her. And, just always seems to pull these upset victories out of nowhere. So she has been, I think, really since she captured that title, looking to prove that her title win wasn't just a fluke. So she has been, this is her second open challenge that she has issued since winning that title belt. The first one was answered at In Bloom by a returning Anastasia Morningstar. We were not aware that she would be the one accepting that title, accepting that open challenge. This open challenge, however, was answered preemptively by Kelsey Reagan. Kelsey Reagan, who fans at Ridgefield Park will be familiar with. She's made appearances at Pro Wrestling Magic. recently, and she actually came to us from the recommendation of Steve Off. So shout out to Steve. Looking to add some gold to her collection. So we shall see how this is going to go. It's going to be a really, really hard-hitting women's match. I'm excited.
And I've seen Kelsey Reagan before too. Not in Jersey though. It was upstate New York for a company called Mortal Championship Wrestling, where she faced off against then champion Kayla Sparks in a very good matchup.
Yes. Yeah,
And,
she's coming to us down from Florida. She's nationally traveled. So.
And again, stacked card up and down. Folks, if you don't go to Richfield Park, what is wrong with you? I mean, seriously. But last question I have, since you're on the air.
Yes.
What's next for Invictus after Northern Conquest?
So I will say this right now because you announced this during In Bloom, but because our esteemed commentary team was talking over you, the live streamed audience didn't get to hear it. But we haven't announced this officially on the social media pages yet, but I will announce it here that we will be returning to the Bronx, and specifically the Bronx Brewery, on Friday, August 4th. And tickets and more details for that will be forthcoming. But if you were at the last brewery show in March, or at the No Ring back that we did there last summer, you know that those brewery shows are a lot of fun and they get crazy. So I am very much looking forward to Invictus Pro Wrestling presents We Outside. That is the name of the show. We will also be outside in the backyard of the bar.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Who didn't pay attention during the live stream? Thanks to the wonderful commentary team that we had that night.
I yelled at him already. It's fine.
But like he said, and I remember I said it too at the show. We gonna be outside.
How about that?
I think I popped outside on that one too. But John,
and I'll say this right now: I will be at that show.
Hell yeah!
I will finally make my trip to the Bronx Brewery. I know Ryan, every time you guys run there, all Ryan keeps raving about not only is the atmosphere, but the goddamn food.
I will say this right now on the record. Even if you are not a fan of wrestling in the slightest, which if you're not, I don't know why you would be watching this show, but
well, we provide comedy for people. What do you expect?
True. But be that as it may, even if you're not a fan of wrestling in the slightest, the trip to the Bronx Brewery for the food, and specifically their empanadas, is well worth it. They just recently introduced a truffle mac and cheese empanada, which it tastes like the nectar of the gods, is the only way I can describe it. It is.
Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I can make it now. Let's go.
Well, I was gonna say I can make a pit stop on the way back from work tomorrow.
I don't know if you want to, sample the menu ahead of time so you know exactly what you want to order when you get there.
But, no, folks, like Alex said, when I went there the first time, oh my god, I was amazed by it. And from what I remember, they have chopped cheese empanadas.
Chopped cheese empanadas, and they also recently introduced they do a chopped cheese pizza now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, place is great. They're very good people, good friends of ours at Invictus. They're excited to have us back. We're excited to be back. So it's going to be a real good time.
So, John, I guess you and I will be fasting for 24 hours before the show.
I look this way. It'd be the middle of summer, so I can really push weight loss.
There you go.
But Alex, in regards to Sunday, like I said, I know we just went through all the matches, and it's a stacked card. Is there one match on either side of either you guys or an NFW that you're looking forward to seeing live?
I mean, I think the PJ Savage versus Face match is going to be really just because of the history between them. And I don't know if either of you guys saw PJ's promo that he did for that match, but that promo gave me goosebumps because he the editing, and I know that was Kevin Wood that did the editing for him. So shout out to Kevin. But
Kevin's awesome.
Just a lot of like throwbacks to Takeover. You know, they had the instead of like the usual PJ Savage logo in the lower corner, there was like they used the Takeover logo, but it was like fractured. It almost looked like it was like on glass and it was broken.
Oh, I definitely take a look at that one.
Yeah, and then like they did this thing where like, you know, he filmed it in like that alley or rooftop where he films a lot of his promos, but he's like walking up towards the camera at the beginning, and then like the camera flickers and it's all four of them walking towards the camera, and then it flickers again and it's just PJ. So all of the little subtle like callbacks in the build up to this have been really cool to watch, and I think for fans that have sort of followed the rise and fall of Takeover, I think this will be a really interesting, I'm not going to say final chapter, because as we know, the beef between PJ and Bougie is still very much alive, but I think this will be an interesting development in that story.
Folks, basically my suggestion is this: if you are coming to Ridgefield Park for that show, either bring an umbrella or bring a poncho, because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
And if you have children, bring earmuffs too, perhaps.
Oh yeah.
Bring earmuffs and a pair of swimming goggles.
And if you want to bring a mop, go right ahead, because I think they may need it.
Just go to your local Home Depot or Lowe's and get the basic cleaning necessities that you need.
I mean, Takeover's last match, as all four of them in Invictus, was the Takeover versus Goons match at Magnitude, and there was a very wonderful clip from that match of them brawling down the handicap ramp at Ridgefield as they brawl past me, wiping blood off the wall. And I just look over my shoulder and like shake my head, which I think
I call that match the bloodbath on Bergen Avenue.
Nice. That's got a good ring to it. That could be fun, actually.
I remember that match because I remember I went outside for a little bit, and all of a sudden I had seen, because we were standing right by the staircase, and all I remember with that match was I saw a garbage can get thrown across.
That's like every PJ match. Didn't he just do that? No, it wasn't PJ that threw the garbage can on Friday night. It was someone else.
It was someone who threw it at him, though.
Yes.
I think it was Popon, actually.
Yeah, so when PJ's involved in a match at Ridgefield, one way or another, the trash can's getting involved. He's either the one throwing it or it's getting thrown at him.
But, folks, I think the best thing we can say is you're not going to want to miss this show. It's going to be, like I said, also, it's an early show, so you don't have to worry about being at Ridgefield Park that late. And, Alex, I do have one last question to ask you. Will the air conditioner be on?
Will the air conditioner be on? I'm going to try to figure that out. If not, that big industrial fucking fan will be on, but I know that doesn't replace it. So I will talk to Jim when I get there and see if we can't get that fan on.
Well, apparently it worked at Bree on Sunday, so
get the AC on. Yeah.
Actually, Ryan, did you have one other question about in regards to the face PJ match to ask Alex about?
No, I already asked it already.
No, about that shit's about to go down.
Oh yeah. Am I allowed to say it to the fans? Obviously, if it's appropriate, am I allowed to say the lines of shit's gonna hit the fan?
Let's look at the crowd. Let's look at the live crowd.
That's what I'm saying. Let's say look at the crowd.
The ratio is mostly 18 and older, and also if the fan is running, because I will not pass up the opportunity for a good pun. Hey, shit about the fan and Wester at the Giant fan.
Oh my god!
Wow. And
I will plug that Giant fan in exclusively for you to be able to make that joke. So I'm gonna throw the ball up. You just have to you know.
Just lobby it. I'll take a swing
Yep.
at it.
But guys, Sunday it all goes down 3 p.m. NFW Invictus. It's going to be a great show. Obviously, if you cannot be there, you can watch it on IWTV. And folks, again, PJ and Face, I feel sorry for that building.
Hold on,
they're gonna crumble that building to the fucking ground.
Hold on. They asked me, hey, they asked me if there was anything I wanted specifically out of the match. I was like, yeah, I want you guys to put this fucking building out of its misery.
Oh shit. So is it safe to say then there's going to be a humongous space in between the first row of seats and the ring?
Yeah, they're gonna. It's definitely call this match IKEA because they're going to be rearranging some furniture.
Wow.
IKEA, if you're listening, please sponsor this match for us.
But Ryan, you got anything else for Alex?
I'm good.
Alex, I appreciate having you on. It's always a blast having you on. And again, looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be a blast. And I'll make sure I wear a white shirt so in case blood does get spewed on it, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, have the boys sign that. Sell that shit on eBay afterwards.
And then
Don't
after
wash
that,
it either.
after that, you can just jump on it.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Alex, have a good one. See you Sunday.
Looking forward to seeing you Sunday, man.
Guys, that was Alex Acetta. Yeah. One half of the...
No, that was not Alex. That was Alejandro El Queso Grande.
You feel better?
Yeah. Folks, please make it a Richfield Park, please.
Again, Ryan, before I get to your apartment on Sunday, would you like me to buy you an umbrella, a poncho? What would you prefer?
I mean, first of all, I have an umbrella.
Would you prefer
how about a megaphone?
I would say, would you prefer a poncho? You know what that match is going to remind me of? Okay, do you remember this? And then we'll get back more into the indie stuff in a second. Do you remember the TV show? The one where if you got the question wrong, you got slime on you.
Was it Figure It Out or something like that?
Double Dare, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
One of the games, but that's what I have a feeling that's gonna be happening on Sunday between PJ and Face.
Oh, absolutely.
But let's continue things here because, like I said, we have a lot more to get to, and we're doing good. Ryan, before we get into what happened with Bree Combination, I want to get your take on some of the matches happening on Saturday with Pro Wrestling Magic.
Well, first of all, can I go back to the whole? Can I go back quickly to the story with Roosh?
Go ahead. Well, yeah, go ahead. Then I want to get back into the indie stuff.
So, obviously, if you don't know who Roosh is, he's a very, very well known, popular wrestler in the state of actually in Mexico, and his father wrestles for a company called AAA.
Yep.
This past weekend, he terminated his contract immediately because apparently, from what I'm hearing, there's supposed to be a massive match. They built this up for a while, between him and La Parca in a hair versus hair match.
Oh shit!
Here's the problem now,
and that would be
they didn't tell Roosh what the stipulation was going to be until it was going to be announced. And also, AEW did not want his hair to get cut. And unfortunately, with AAA, I had a feeling they were not going to have Roosh win.
I was going to say, wasn't there, if I remember reading it correctly, wasn't there another reason why he left AAA, or are you about to get to that other reason?
No, that was all I heard.
Well, I heard another reason.
There were two reasons. I don't remember the other one.
How about his wife gave birth?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, his wife gave birth.
Congrats to them.
But I want to get into the indie stuff because we have a few things I want to get to with the indie stuff, and I want to get the matches I want to look at. I want to talk to you about for a second are the 4 main event matches.
Oh, for Magic. Okay. I just wanted to talk about that shit with Roosh because I was like, first of all, as a wrestling promoter, you should at least tell your wrestlers what match is going to be, I don't know, ahead of time?
No, I completely agree. But there's the 4 main event matches I want to look at with you. Because...
All right, hold on. I'm pulling up the card on my end right now. La, 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 la.
Well, I got the card right here, so I'll go through with you quickly.
But I want to pull the card up myself.
For the heavyweight championship, Steve Pena takes on Kerr.
Oof.
In your eyes, how do you see that match playing out?
Pena going over.
Well, what's funny is, and you'll hear more about this in my interview with Steve, you have to realize one thing. Steve has one ace up his sleeve that Kerr doesn't have. And that would be Espados Unidos. Because you know damn well, even if it's just Pena, and I said this to Steve, even if it's just Pena coming out by himself, you know Felipe, you know Cage, you know all of them are going to be lurking around that building. This next match is one that could rival PJ and Face. And that's the Bayonne street fight.
Oof.
Between Alex Ryman and Danny fucking Moth.
Oh, God.
And from what I heard...
Aren't you going to ask who I think is going to go over?
Well, go ahead. Who do you think?
The fans. The fans.
Yeah. The big thing with this match, though, and this was brought to my attention, I totally forgot. Moth has the keys to the kingdom.
Does
he? Not the keys to the kingdom. He has a guaranteed. I forgot how Steve phrased it. You can watch it in the video. But he has a rematch for the title.
Interesting.
If Ryman somehow can pull this off, could we possibly see some sort of fatal 4-way happening when Magic comes back in September?
Maybe.
Then the other... Actually, I'm going to hold off on the match I was getting to in a second. Then you get the tag title matches. As Death Row takes on the Miracle Generation. And, folks, just want to make this clear. Both the Pro Wrestling Magic tag titles and the IWTV tag titles will be on the line in this match. Ryan, my question to you is this. Who do you see walking out there with both? Who do you see walking out of Richfield Park with both titles?
I mean, it's tough because Death Row has been dominant in Pro Wrestling Magic, but Miracle Generation has been dominant, as the IWTV World Tag Team Champions.
I said this to Steve. You look at a team like Death Row, they're the top of the top when you talk about tag team wrestling and Pro Wrestling Magic.
Absolutely.
I think whoever walks out of this match, to me, can say not only they're the top of Pro Wrestling Magic, but they're the top of Northeast Indie Wrestling. There's no other way you can put it. And then this next match, I actually found out, and it was reported on Pro Wrestling Magic social media accounts, will actually be open in the card on Saturday.
Which is?
The triple threat match between Donovan, Steve Off, and Smiley.
That's opening the card?
That's opening the card.
Wow.
And folks, like I said in the interview, the titles that are on the line are as follows. The Dark Arts Championship, the Tri-Wizards Championship, and the Funhouse American Lucha Championship. And Steve already said in the interview, which you'll see that interview drop tomorrow, who he chose to be his run-in mates if he were to win the match when it comes to the Tri-Wizards Championship. They're the little duo called Death Row.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think the biggest thing with this match, Ryan, tell me and correct me if I'm wrong. Smiley has Project Mayhem. Donovan has Espados Unidos. I'm curious to see who Steve has in his corner for this match.
I think I have a feeling who, but you know.
Yeah. But yeah, this match is open in the card. Obviously, we're not going to go through these matches, but you got the other matches on this card is Sunny Kiss versus Kelsey Reagan, Azrael versus Vinny Pacifico, Vicious Vicky versus...
Azrael and Vinny Pacifico for the Junior Heavyweight Championship.
But that's weird, though. That's not being considered a main event match.
No, but it is a match on the card.
Yes. Okay, how do you see that match playing out?
Oof. Is Azrael the champion or no?
No, Vinny is. Vinny beat Donovan at Kingdom Come.
That's right. I think I see Azrael winning the title.
All I know is it's going to be match of the night, in my opinion.
It's going to be like one of the top matches.
Yeah.
And then, as you were saying, it's the Women's Key to the Kingdom, which that name might get changed from what I'm hearing.
Yes.
As Zeta Steel takes on Vicious Vicky.
Yes.
And for the Wrestlers Lab Collaborative Championship, their version of tag team titles, the current champions, The Rep, taking on Memory Museum.
Which, you know how Memory Museum gets ready for The Rep?
How?
They put their reps in. Yep. Overall, I mean, on paper, this card looks really good.
They don't need to add any more matches.
No. I know they have a pre-show match. And
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. Let me touch briefly. Actually, before I even get to Brie, let's touch briefly on Win from Friday.
Oh, boy.
No, we're going to keep it very simple. From everybody here at the Round Levels Podcast, we want to send the congratulations out to Joey Conway on becoming the inaugural Win World Heavyweight Champion.
And also, going to throw it out there about their next event.
Yes, July 29th, I think.
Yep. We're on that night, just like this past Friday. Once again, history will be made as Win is going to be hosting an 8-team tag team tournament featuring 8 of the best tag teams that Win can offer, where the winners will be crowned the inaugural Wrestling Is Now Tag Team Champions.
I had a really bad joke for how you were phrasing that before.
And of course, you know, every sentence that I say, John has to make a joke about it.
No, I was just going to say, when you said, history will be made. Actually, no, I got to be professional.
Does it involve you?
No, I was going to say history being made. They're actually going to figure out how the AC turns on.
Listen, I'll find out on Sunday and do it myself when I get to the fucking building on that day. But we can now confirm 3 tag teams in that tournament.
And who would that be?
So, team number 1, the new Backseas, which is Tommy and JP Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
The Audacity, which are former NYWC tag team champions.
Yep.
And a team that just made their win debut this past Friday against Above the Rest, and they are the IWTV tag team champions, Miracle Generation.
As of tonight's show.
As of tonight's show, yes.
Win always puts on great shows. It's going to be a fantastic show to be at on Friday. Not Friday, on July 29th. Just follow Win on social media. You'll find out about, tickets and all that stuff in the weeks to come.
And I know I'll have a busy weekend that weekend because the following day on July 30th.
I know the answer.
Bathrooms down the hall. Just make sure you close the door.
I know the answer.
Yes, John.
Is it Cap?
Ding, ding, ding. You win.
What do I win?
you win this announcement. It is Creative Pro Wrestling live from Lynbrook, New York, as they proudly present, as I'm going to pull up the card name right now. After a phenomenal event this past May in Melville, New York. As it's Creative Pro Wrestling presents Beyond Boundaries, where we can confirm one matchup already for that night.
And that would be?
As they're calling it, the biggest battle in gay wrestling today, and that is the Dime Piece Aaron Rourke taking on Effie.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good match.
And also, returning to Creative Pro that night, we have the Creative Pro Television Champion Bobby Orlando defending his title. We also have the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. The newly crowned Creative Pro Mayhem medal holder, the Sweeper, will be making his first defense that night.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the newly undisputed Creative Pro champion, the one-lunged angel, Bryce Donovan.
And tickets are, I think, are on sale now.
I believe so. Front row's already sold out. Shocker. Not really.
Couple of other stuff with indie stuff before we get over to AEW. If you live up in the upstate New York area, July 8th, Immortal Championship Wrestling presents their next event called Immortal Things 4, which will feature Garrett Holiday taking on Matt Taven. Lindsay Dorado takes on Sean Carr. And the first time ever match in ICW history, Chip Stenson takes on his son Shane Stenson in a dog collar career versus career match. And it's been announced, other people will be in action, including both your tag team champions, but not as a tag team, in singles action, will both be in action as well. I think Kayla Sparks will be there, so definitely, folks, get your tickets now. I know front row seats have been sold out, and it has been it's looking like a very good show. So definitely you want to go for that. And then while I do that, I'm using my mouse that's not even connected. Well, wow, it's been that type of day. David's chiming in here quickly. Hey, David, how you doing? I'm glad you got a chance to finally get a chance to watch us. And David, for you and anybody who's watching, if you're just tuning in now and you missed any of the show, including our sit down with Alex Acetta, owner of Invictus Pro Wrestling, go back to our YouTube page, go back to our Facebook page, and definitely you can watch the rerun of it at your earliest convenience. But the other thing I want to get to before we get over to AEW is what happened Sunday with Bree Combination Wrestling, as they presented Summer on Smash, a tribute to Mama Pan. And you guys know we talk about Bree Combination a lot on this podcast. And Bree Combination a lot of times has had this aura about it. But I will tell you right now, after being there on Sunday, I think they're starting to break that aura. The matches were good. The crowd, it wasn't a sellout, but it was a decent amount of people that were there. And the energy was incredible. A few things to get to in that one. Theo Ivory, I think, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated heels in the Northeast when it comes to independent wrestling. Because he was doing some stuff in his match with Daniel Alexander to open the show that I was like, okay, he's being a real heel right now. The last 4 matches they had, I think any of them could have closed out, which included Anthony Gangone versus Colossal Mike Law for the Grand Dragon Championship. You had Darius Carter taking on Marcus Mathers. You had the triple threat match between Courageous Cressida Marie, Notorious Mimi, and Brittany Jade to crown the 2023 Queen of the North. And you also had Jay Bougie taking on Facade. And any of those matches, in my opinion, could have closed out the show. So definitely, if you get the opportunity, definitely go check out Bree Combination Wrestling. They put on great stuff. Anthony Cole and company puts on fantastic stuff. And Anthony and AJ, if you guys are watching this, it was a blast being there. It was probably, I wouldn't say the loudest because I've heard that building pretty loud before, but for a recombination show, the energy was definitely there. And folks, again, go check out recombination and you will not be disappointed. Moving right along now, let's get over into some AEW because they had a little collision on Saturday. And that was because they debuted their new show called AEW Collision. Now, Ryan, have you had a chance yet to see AEW Collision?
I saw bits and pieces.
Okay, let me ask you this then. From what you saw, what did you think about from what you had seen?
I was impressed with what I saw.
Now,
in my opinion, because it felt like another version of Dynamite, only a little bit better.
In what way?
I think because it was a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And people are more alive on Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the CM Punk promo in the beginning, absolute wow.
I want to dive into that a little bit more, but go on.
Opening up with the TNT title match, which Luchasaurus defeated Wardlow. I called it right there.
Mm-hmm.
What?
No, I'm letting you talk.
Well, did you have a comment to say after that?
I liked it. I love how people are sitting there, and folks, this is the part of the show where I'm going to have a few, as Ryan loves to call it, LaGreca rants in me. So, just giving you the forewarning right now.
Oh boy. Next up, we had Buddy Matthews taking on Andrade El Idolo, which a great fucking matchup there.
Yes.
And it looks like, the House of Black attacked Andrade El Idolo, which I wonder who Andrade can pull in to help him out.
I think there's some guys from LIJ who can help him.
Oh, maybe.
I'm talking about LIJ in the hospital.
I know. Also, we had a return, apparently from someone we haven't seen in, I think, almost a year.
And who would that be?
The Redeemer, Miro. As he took on, unfortunately, a Long Island boy. Yes, David, we all know it's Christian's belt. We know. Jesus, Maddie and Joseph.
Which that's one of the things that pissed me off, but go on.
Miro defeating Tony Nese.
Okay, quickly about that match. Did you think that match that match should have been a minute?
A little bit.
You know what's funny? I don't mind that match being what it is.
It was only 3 minutes.
But I don't mind that because there were some people who were saying, oh, it should have been like a 30-second squash match.
No, I wouldn't say 30 seconds.
At least a minute.
Exactly.
But there are people who are like, 3 minutes was way too long. I'm like, why?
Why?
I'm like, obviously, you're bringing back Miro. It's all well and good. Don't get me wrong. But you're not going to bring him back to be the dominant that he was when he was still doing Rusev. You're not at that point yet.
Next matchup, we saw women's tag team action as the team of Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale defeated the Outcasts, Ruby Soho and Toni Storm.
Yeah.
A good matchup.
Yeah, it was a decent match. I still think they're setting up for a women's blood and guts, but we'll get to that later on.
And, the main event.
Well, before we touch on the main event, before we get to the main event, there's a few things I just want to get to with what we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I want to first look at the matchup with Christian and Wardlow. Christian and Wardlow. Luchasaurus and Wardlow. I'm sorry, the way the match ended, and you have Christian on freaking Luchasaurus' shoulders going, ooh, I just won the title. I just won the title. I just won the title. My point is this. Luchasaurus and Wardlow, I thought, had a fantastic match. Somebody of Wardlow's size should not be moving like Wardlow does. with that being said, I feel a little bit that it took away from Luchasaurus's win with having Christian hold the title. I understand why they did it, because Christian's supposed to be the pricky, the cocky heel manager, this, that, and the other thing. As you put it perfectly, it's like Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Well, also considering he took one of the cameraman's camera at ringside and bashed it over Wardlow's head.
But I just think it took away from that moment. I think it took away from that moment because to me, you could have had Christian sitting there, congratulating Wardlow, doing all that stuff. I think the whole shoulder thing to me was ridiculous. As far as the other matches, I mean, the other matches were great. And I'm not trying to be here and be a stickler, but I'm just trying to tell you guys the way I look at it as. Which now leads me to the Punk stuff. Before we get to the promo, there's one thing that's been grinding my gears with this whole Punk stuff. Ryan, did you see the picture that's been circulating social media after the show?
Yes.
Punk holding the sign that said support
LGBTQ plus youth.
Okay. I'm just going to say this right now. There are people in the IWC. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. There are people in the IWC. This is the type of rant I'm about to go on. I have to go on a solo screen here. Ryan, I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine, dude.
When you look at these fans, I think, first of all, the fact that anybody, I don't care if you're a wrestling fan or you're not, and you have an issue when it comes to somebody's sexual orientation, I think you have to look at yourself in the goddamn mirror. Because to me, it doesn't affect you at all. It doesn't change your life at all. Why do you give a flying fuck? To me, if Punk is going to sit there and say that he supports LGBTQ+, I'm happy for him. He's taken a stand. And these people who are sitting there saying, "Oh, well, you shouldn't mix politics with WWE." First of all, none of us would even know about it if nobody had taken a goddamn picture of it. So the people who sit there and say, and some of them are former WWE superstars, including Dutch Mantel, who sit there and say that what he did had no right in professional wrestling, I'm sorry. And your gimmick of being basically anti-immigration does? I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think you said it best. Some people need to get off social media.
Mm-hmm. I think it's ridiculous. To me, there's a time and a place, and the people who are sitting there and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to watch AEW anymore because of what Punk did." Yeah, you're talking to somebody here, guys, who was in retail for 6 years. Heard it constantly. "Oh, I'm never going to come back and shop at this place again." And you know what ended up happening? They showed up a week later. The people who are sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm never going to watch AEW again because CM Punk supports the LGBTQ and I don't want to see politics get mixed in with wrestling," you're talking out of both ends of your ass. You all know that you're going to keep watching wrestling. Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm going to get a prop for my little rant.
Would you like me to put you on full screen?
No.
Okay.
Because I want to see your reaction. So,
okay.
In regards to those people who say, I'm not going to watch it because they don't support, because of this thing and whatnot, the whole thing with LGBT.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, those are the same type of people who live in their parents' basements or in their mid-40s, and they haven't seen this wonderful adventure, which I have in my hand, called deodorant.
Okay.
with deodorant. So if you're gonna bitch about that, then how about taking a look in the goddamn mirror yourself? That way you can actually see what you look like in person. Groom up, actually wear deodorant, wipe your ass, maybe actually get laid for once. Stop worrying about other problems that don't even fucking concern you. How about dealing with your own problems? And just goes beyond wrestling. This goes just in life in general. Stop getting your noses in other people's business, especially something as big as the LGBTQ plus community, which I massively support. I'm all for it. And if you don't like that, then get the hell off of social media. Get the hell out of my site. Get the hell out of everyone else's site. Because all you are is just a massive roadblock that we can easily flatten like that.
You're not wrong on that. And to me...
And also, getting back to sticking your nose in other people's business, I apologize. If you have to stick your nose in that other business, then that right there is a major distraction about dealing with your own personal problems. Again, case in point. Oh, how come nobody likes me? How come nobody likes me? Well, 95% of the people that say that is because you don't wear this. That's just a jab in general. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing the same hokey bullshit on social media from people, bitching about something that means a lot to other people. And this might get a little, personal. Well, this might get me canceled. I don't give a shit at this point. When it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, stop bringing religion into this shit. That's a shoot. I think John just froze.
No, I'm still here. I'm just trying to figure out where you were going with that, but I don't want to get so into the political stuff of this.
No, that's all I'm gonna say. Stop bringing the Lord's name in vain. Who knows? The Lord could have been part of that community himself. Just saying. And I call those type of people close-minded people. I don't care about the comments right now. I don't care.
Actually, it's actually a very nice compliment.
Oh, well, thank you, David. I appreciate that. Because I'm gonna get a little bit non-wrestling. Because I saw this earlier today, and it really boils me right now talking about this thing. In Texas, I think it was like one of the mayors of a town in Texas, declared it gay, actually acknowledged Pride Month in the state of Texas. Yeah. But you hear people in the background, saying oh, bullshit. Okay, so being a part of the LGBTQ plus community is bullshit. Yet it's totally okay to own fucking rifles that actually kill people.
Okay. Ryan?
I'm done.
All right, I don't want to get so into the political side because we can go down a path, and unfortunately,
I saw this earlier. That's why it's still fresh on my mind. Again, closed-minded people either open up or go to the fucking Bermuda Triangle and get lost in the triangle and never come back.
My point is this: when it comes to the whole thing with Punk, who cares?
Exactly.
Who gives a flying fadoodle? And like Ryan said, I'll piggyback off what he just said. I am somebody who's a huge supporter of it, and I've said this countless amount of times. I'll say this out publicly. To me, the people who sit there and say, "Oh, well, being gay, being bi, it is, some people say it's genetics and all that. I don't care. To me, if it makes you happy, go right ahead. That's all that fucking matters in the long run." But to get back into wrestling, I want to get into Punk's promo. His actual promo. Mm-hmm. And on paper, I absolutely loved it.
Oh, dude.
In certain aspects. There were certain aspects where I was like, do you really want to go down that road again? But I think on paper, I think it really showed well. The only thing I'm just curious to see, though, is what's the reaction going to be next week when they're not in Chicago and they don't have that new episode, not new episode, new, whatchamacallit, new show smell anymore.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because apparently after this past weekend, the 24th version of Collision, taking place in Toronto, actually got almost a boost of 1,900 tickets.
Okay, you say that, and that actually brings up an interesting thing. What show did I just hear where the host made the comment of watch that after Collision that sales are going to go up and that sales are going to go up for Collision?
Oh,
future show.
Ray. Oh, Bully Ray. Bully Ray said busted open.
I said it too. Smart one last week.
Did you? I don't know. I don't remember hearing. If the viewers out there, if you actually watched our show last week, refresh my memory. Did John actually say that, or is he talking out of his ass again?
No, I said that.
No, I said that.
Moving on. I thought the main event, it was good. I'm just curious where they go with it because I have two theories in mind. I think the program we're going to end up getting out of that main event from last week, from Saturday, is going to be Punk and Samoa Joe. Or we're getting Punk and Jay White.
Give me Punk and Joe, please. Especially after that little sequence that we saw.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But anybody who's watching, let us know what you thought.
I think one of the best things about that main event spot was the first time that Samoa Joe and CM Punk were in the ring together for the first time in over 6,000 days.
Yeah.
And then when it came to Joe chopping Punk in the corner, all of a sudden you see Dax, you see FTR's reactions in the corner to the chops.
Oh wow. Okay, I did not know this. Collision doesn't air over here yet, like Dynamite and Rampage doesn't.
Really?
Interesting. So, David, I apologize for just spoiling the first episode of Collision for you.
Okay.
David, I apologize about doing that. But I want to keep things going here because we don't have that much to get to, and I want to, like I said, we got one more thing I want to get to before we close out the show for tonight. Because we talked about Magic. We talked about Invictus. But there's also another pay-per-view on Sunday night. Happening up in Toronto.
What the hell?
What?
I think I just had a stroke just now.
Is it food related?
No.
What?
So, first of all, what show are you referring to, my good sir?
That would be Forbidden Door.
Ah, yes, Forbidden Door. Well, apparently, on Saturday, so when Collision goes to Toronto, there is a special Forbidden Door meet and greet happening.
Yep.
Featuring the IWGP World Champion Sonata, Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Minoru motherfucking Suzuki.
Yes.
I'm going to say this right now, for all you fans in Canada, you are lucky sons of bitches you're getting this shit.
We don't blame you guys for the wildfires that happen because of this. Okay, no, you know what I see happening? This is Canada's way of saying, look, we're not evil. We don't like to make all the skies look orange, so we're going to give you guys a meet and greet of 4 of the best goddamn Japanese wrestlers out there.
But it's happening in Toronto.
So we could make it up to Toronto in time. I would say, right, all the people none of them own like a helicopter?
I'm gonna see something right now. Hold on.
While you do that, let me pull up the comment.
Oh, tickets are still available.
David, I appreciate that.
Okay, so tickets are still available for Collision. So, want to take a trip up to Toronto?
Sure, why not? I could bolt out a no, actually, I got Magic that day. But
wow, you hear this, folks? You hear this? He would turn down a meet and greet with 4 of the best Japanese wrestlers to go see Pro Wrestling Magic.
Okay, Ryan, let me finish. And first of all,
just wait until we're done with this. Oh, I got a bone to pick with you, buddy.
What did I do now?
Oh, let's give me something. Where the fuck did my pen go, first of all? I had a pen. Where'd it go?
I don't know. It's up your ass to the left. What the hell did I do now?
Folks, I'm calling John out right now.
Okay.
I said this to him before, and I'm gonna in private, but now after hearing this, I'm gonna fucking say it now. This guy over here has selective wrestling memory. In other words, as someone like me who actually knows a thing or two about indie wrestling, because I'm involved in it, I'm trying to help John explore multiple promotions and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he still finds a way to go find the same hokey pokey bullshit places. Not bullshit, but you know what I mean. The same song and dance all the time, whether it's Pro Wrestling Magic or Combination Wrestling or in World Championship Wrestling, instead of other places like Creative Pro Wrestling, Victory Pro Wrestling, NYWC, Northeast Wrestling, Texas Straight Wrestling. I saw you almost did there, by the way. I saw you almost did that. You almost did that.
I'm gonna cut you off right now.
Hey, John, go fork yourself.
Hold on, we got a comment coming in here from David. I will message you about that offline. It's being discussed. Right. The reason why,
Come on, LaGreca.
the reason why, because first of all, I do not have selective wrestling memory, or whatever the fuck you called it.
I don't remember what I called it, but go on.
My point is this. I don't want to dive so much into it because I know we have other shit to talk about.
I'm not talking about tonight. I'm talking about just in general.
Okay, and I said, again, I am getting better at that.
You're getting what?
Better. B-E-T-T-E-R.
I thought you were going to spell it totally different.
Because, to be honest, yes, if there are moments where will I mention certain companies? Absolutely, I will. However, the reason why I mention these certain companies, like Magic, Bree, and Mortal, is because those are the ones that I can remember. There's too many freaking companies to remember. And also, when I did my closing thoughts, I was going to mention NYWC's next show that they're doing in October over at the space in Westbury.
Hold off until that. Hold off for another month.
But you see, I was going to mention it.
John, you realize I'm only fucking with you, right?
I know. I'm playing right into it.
Sure you are.
But yeah, I'm
that point. Or am I going to get canceled because you're part of the oversensitive community?
Oh,
oh God, no! Please, don't keep your shirt on, please. Keep your shirt on, or else I'm going to throw you that Forbidden Door. Speaking of Forbidden Door, that's happening this Sunday.
Okay, actually, I actually look good like this.
Okay. Yeah, Forbidden Door.
Would you like me to close my shirt up?
I'm not even looking there anymore.
Okay.
So anyway, we have 5 matches already scheduled for Forbidden Door as of now until tomorrow night, where they announce the other 14 matches that are happening. Would you like me to go through the card, or
Yes, let's go through.
No, I'm saying, would you like me to go through them, or since you are the host and I'm the team, do you want to take over?
You have the card up. Let's go through the card and make our predictions. It's
All
not
right.
that difficult. It's not that difficult. Okay, would you rather we do this in the mailroom at work where, it could take us 3 hours?
Depending on the day, yeah.
Let's call a spade here. You have the card up. Let's roll.
All right, so kicking off. Well, I don't know if it's kicking it off, but for the AEW International Championship, the current champion himself, Orange Cassidy, takes on Zack Sabre Jr.
Orange Cassidy gets the win here.
And this would actually solidify Orange Cassidy as a volatile champion.
Yes. How about you?
Oh, same thing, Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. We got Sonata taking on Jack Perry with Hook in his corner.
I'm going to tell you right now, my prediction is Hook turns on Jungle Boy, Sonata wins.
Ooh, you see a heel turn there.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. As of right now, for the AEW World Championship, the current champion himself, MJF, takes on Hiroshi Tanahashi.
MJF gets the win.
I don't see him wrestling, though.
Oh, no, something will happen.
Well, find out tomorrow night on Dynamite.
Yes.
All right. Can Forbidden Door just be these 2 matches and then have the other 3 be the pre-show matches at this point?
Which match?
Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada.
Oh, crap.
No. You know who wins?
Oh, fans?
Yep, all the fans.
Give me Danielson on this one.
Ooh, okay. Here's the other question. How long do you think they're going to go?
35 minutes?
39 minutes. Okay. I see around 35, 40 minutes. Second of all, what the hell is in your hand?
Oh, yeah. It was a shelf unit.
Why?
I was lifting it. I was trying to do my exercises.
Oh, good Lord. And last but not least, for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, the current champion, Kenny Omega, taking on Will Ospreay.
Which I can tell you right now, according to reports, this is your main event.
Oh, yeah.
Which means I'm telling you right now, they got something big planned.
Yep, they're going to go 45 minutes.
Well, I have a prediction of who that big plan is going to be.
Go on.
Ibushi shows up.
Ooh.
I still think Ospreay is going to win the title.
I think so, too.
But I think Ibushi shows up. Because then I think Ibushi ends up becoming part of AEW.
That would be kind of interesting, considering his relationship with New Japan also.
That's why I predicted that. Ow.
Why can't this card be like somewhere here, like, I don't know, Arthur Ashe Stadium?
I know why.
Because Canada.
Yes.
And no wonder they gave us the wildfires. It was a country's protest.
Yes. But guys, like I said, Forbidden Door happens this Sunday. And we will definitely have your recap of it next Tuesday. Or possibly next Sunday. I don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And Ryan, how people can find out about that information?
How?
Go to our social medias. You can follow us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And we are on Instagram as well, folks. So definitely give us a follow there. Give us a like there. Share with your friends, your family, and all that stuff as far as what you guys would love to see on the show. And like I said, we got Forbidden Door this week, and then we got Money in the Bank coming up next week. But Ryan, before we head out of here for the night, where can people find you on social media, and what else do you have coming up?
Oh, jeez. Well, first of all, you can find me I almost said Saturday. This Sunday at Northern Conquest with Invictus Pro Wrestling and NFW. As of right now, the 29th with Win of July 30th with excuse me, with Creator Pro. August 4th with Invictus again. The 8th, tentative on that one. Tentative. It's a work in progress, possibly.
Oh, okay.
But you can find me on Instagram at WrestlingMC. You can find me on Facebook at Ryan Peterson. And yeah, that's all. And also coming soon, hopefully soon, my musical theater podcast, The Curtain Call, will finally raise the curtain.
Guys, you can find me on social media. Just type John Blaine and you'll find me there somewhere. What I got coming up, obviously more on the fan perspective of things. I'll be at Magic. I'll be at Invictus. I will be at Immortal on the 8th. Something on the 22nd of July. 29th, obviously, we have Win. And then obviously we got some stuff coming up in August, but we'll get to that later on. You can follow the show at Around the Ropes. You can basically type it Around the Ropes Podcast. You can find us on any social media platform that's there. Again, subscribe to our YouTube page for our interview that will be dropping by Friday. I just sat down with Steve Wolf, and then tomorrow I sit down with Garrett Holiday ahead of his match with Matt Taven at Immortal Things 4. And I'm trying to think here. That's really all I got on my plate. Again, for Ryan, I'm John. This has been Around the Ropes Podcast episode. Again, guys, hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. And we'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Same time, same bat channel.